For nearly 2 decades, the Real Housewives franchise has generated over $1 billion for Bravo, while documenting the glamorous and dramatic lives of hundreds of women. But behind the designer clothes and champagne fights, there's been a darker pattern emerging. Multiple housewives have accused the network of fostering hostile work environments, tolerating discrimination, enabling sexual assault, and exploiting cast members' vulnerabilities for ratings. When some of these women tried to fight back through lawsuits, they discovered just how difficult it is to hold a massive media corporation accountable. Here are the Real Housewives who sued Bravo, what they alleged, and what actually happened. Leah McSweeney's lawsuit against Bravo, Andy Cohen, and multiple production companies is the most significant legal battle currently threatening the network. In February 2024, the former Real Housewives of New York star filed a federal lawsuit in Manhattan that exposed disturbing details about how Bravo allegedly treats cast members with addiction issues. And as of March 2026, her case just scored a major legal victory that has the network seriously worried. Leah appeared on RHY seasons 12 and 13 from 2020 to 2021. She came to the show with a documented history of alcohol addiction and had been open about her struggles with sobriety and relapse. According to her lawsuit, she disclosed this history to producers before joining the cast. But instead of respecting her recovery, the lawsuit alleges that producers deliberately created conditions designed to make her drink and then punished her when she tried to stay sober. The allegations are specific and damning. Leah claims that producers repeatedly pressured her to drink alcohol on camera, discouraged her from remaining sober, and weaponized her eventual relapse into a central storyline for ratings. When she attempted to maintain sobriety, she was allegedly mocked, labeled boring, threatened with lost pay, and ultimately sidelined from future Bravo projects. The lawsuit describes what it calls guerrilla-type psychological warfare designed to break Leah's psyche. One particularly disturbing incident involved Leah's dying grandmother. According to court documents, producers intimidated and prevented Leah from visiting her grandmother by threatening to cut her pay or fire her if she left the filming location. That's not creative editing or manufactured drama. That's allegedly keeping someone from saying goodbye to a dying family member, because it would interrupt filming. The lawsuit originally included 34 different claims against Bravo Media, NBC Universal, Warner Brothers Discovery, SUED Media, Andy Cohen, and several individual producers, including Lisa Shannon, John Paparazzo, and Darren Ward. On March 31, 2025, Judge Louis Lyman of the Southern District of New York issued a 100-page ruling that drastically trimmed the case, but allowed 3 critical claims to proceed to trial. The 3 surviving claims are disability discrimination, hostile work environment, and failure to provide reasonable accommodation. The court found that Leah's alcoholism qualifies as a disability under federal and New York law. The judge ruled that her allegations that producers discriminated based on this disability and created conditions so severe they interfered with her ability to work safely were sufficient to move forward. One specific accommodation request, highlighted in the ruling, involved Leah asking for access to AA meetings while filming Real Housewives' Ultimate Girls Trip in Thailand. The court found her claim that Bravo failed to facilitate these accommodations could proceed. But Bravo didn't give up. Throughout 2025, the network tried multiple strategies to make this lawsuit go away. In May 2024, they filed motions to dismiss the entire case. On March 9, 2026, just days ago, Bravo lost that battle too. And Judge Lyman ruled that Bravo, Warner Brothers, and NBC Universal had waived their right to seek arbitration by waiting too long to request it. The defendants had spent over a year litigating in federal court, filing motions to dismiss, and asking the court to devote significant resources to the case. Then, suddenly, they tried to claim the whole thing should have been an arbitration all along. The judge essentially said, "You can't have your cake and eat it too." By litigating for so long in public court, they gave up the right to force private arbitration. This ruling is massive. It means Leah's case will continue in federal court where everything is public record. Discovery will happen, depositions will be taken, internal Bravo documents about how they treat cast members could become public. And if the case goes to trial, a jury will decide whether Bravo discriminated against Leah based on her disability. In November 2025, Leah filed amended claims that made the case even more explosive. She alleged that Andy Cohen orchestrated a coordinated attack using other Bravo stars to publicly discredit her after she filed the lawsuit. The amended complaint names 24 current and former Real Housewives cast members including LaWanda Lepps, Kyle Richards, Melissa Gorga, Condi Baruz, Gisa Vanderpump, Heather Dubrow. Leah claims Cohen directed or induced these stars to publicly disparage her character and truthfulness, and that they did so hoping to curry favor with Cohen to advance their entertainment careers. Court filings don't specify exact monetary damages Leah is seeking, but workplace discrimination cases can recover compensatory damages for emotional distress, all medical expenses, lost wages, and career harm. If gross negligence is proven, punitive damages may also be available to punish the defendants and deter similar conduct. Employment discrimination cases typically take 1 to 3 years from filing to resolution. Leah filed in February 2024, so the case could settle or go to trial sometime in 2026 or 2027. Industry insiders reported in February 2026 that Andy Cohen has been reconciling with former Bravo stars who may serve as witnesses, suggesting the network is genuinely concerned about the case's outcome. Leah herself posted on Instagram in March 2026 after her arbitration victory, saying she doesn't talk much about the ongoing case because it's emotionally and mentally draining, but she's pleased it will remain public. In January 2024, former Real Housewives of New Jersey star Caroline Manzo filed a 57-page lawsuit in New York State Court that made shocking allegations about what happened during filming of Real Housewives' Ultimate Girls Trip in Morocco. The lawsuit names Bravo Media, NBC Universal, Warner Brothers Entertainment, Forest Productions, SUED Media, and Peacock as defendants. According to Caroline's complaint, she was sexually assaulted by fellow cast member Brandi Glenville, while producers not only failed to intervene, but allegedly created the conditions for the assault to occur. The lawsuit states that Brandi groped, grabbed, and forcibly fondled Caroline's breasts and vagina. Caroline claims producers heard these actions as they listened through audio recordings, yet did nothing to stop the acts. But the sexual assault allegation, while horrifying, also is not the only damning claim in Caroline's lawsuit. The complaint alleges that Bravo and its affiliated companies regularly ply the Real Housewives cast with alcohol, cause them to become severely intoxicated, and then direct, encourage, and slash or allow them to sexually harass other cast members because that is good for ratings. Further states that defendants even encouraged Ms. Glenville to become drunk on the set so that she would be more likely to commit outrageous and harassing acts, thereby helping defendants' ratings without regard to the rights and safety of those around her. This isn't Caroline making vague accusations about a party culture. This is a specific claim that Bravo has a systematic practice of getting women drunk on purpose to manufacture content without concern for their safety. And here's what makes it even more credible. Brandi Glenville, the person accused of committing the assault, posted on social media in response to the lawsuit saying, "The producers need to be held accountable, and that the producers ask you to do something and then you get in trouble for it." Both women on opposite sides of a lawsuit are pointing fingers at the same machine. Caroline's attorney, Derek T. Smith, stated, "We believe this case is about the network selfishly sacrificing the well-being of their talent for ratings and profit. Under New York law, employers must ensure employees work in an environment free from sexual harassment and sexual assault." According to the lawsuit, Bravo not only failed to stop the assault, but violated Caroline's rights by bringing Brandi back to work even after she'd been accused of similar acts in the past. The case remains active as of March 2026. One significant result of Caroline's lawsuit is that the season of Real Housewives' Ultimate Girls Trip filmed in Morocco will likely never air. Bravo has shelved the footage, presumably to avoid showcasing an incident that's now the subject of active litigation. The network declined to comment on the lawsuit, but Nene Leakes was one of the biggest stars in Real Housewives history. She helped build the Real Housewives of Atlanta into one of Bravo's most successful franchises. She was the highest-paid housewife ever at an estimated $2.85 million per season at her peak. And in April 2022, she sued Bravo, NBC Universal, Andy Cohen, and the production companies behind RHOA for fostering a racist and hostile work environment. The 74-page lawsuit filed in federal court in Atlanta alleged a pattern of racial discrimination that spanned over a decade. "Who is black?" claimed she complained repeatedly to executives about racist remarks from fellow housewife Kim Zolciak-Biermann. "Who is white?" but that only N suffered consequences. Kim was not named as a defendant in the lawsuit, but the complaint detailed multiple alleged incidents of her behavior. According to the lawsuit, during Season 1 in 2008, the cast was planning to attend a barbecue, and Kim responded to the idea with words to the effect of, "I don't want to sit around with Nene and eat chicken." The suit stated this perpetuated an offensive stereotype about African Americans. In 2012, during Season 5, Kim allegedly made racially offensive and stereotypical comments about Kandi Burruss's new home, calling her neighborhood a ghetto and perpetuating a racial stereotype in an offensive comment about whether Burruss needed a swimming pool. The lawsuit claimed that after Nene's complaints to executives overseeing the show, they did not terminate their relationship with Zolciak-Biermann, nor take any other meaningful action to put an end to her racially offensive behavior. If anything, they rewarded Kim by giving her own spin-off show, Don't Be Tardy. The suit alleged that during the pandemic in spring 2020, Nene got peeved during a Zoom reunion when a non-cast member was allowed to criticize her. She got up and left. According to the lawsuit, Bravo then told Nene they didn't want her around for Season 13. This happened at the height of the Black Lives Matter protests. Nene began new negotiations, and Bravo showed some openness to her joining part-time, but they couldn't reach an agreement. The lawsuit claimed that when Nene began making public complaints about Bravo and Cohen discriminating against her, Bravo reneged on any development deals. The network even taped a special about race in America in August 2020 that included featured RHA cast members Portia Williams and Kandi Burruss, but excluded Nena. As Bravo's historically most successful black female talent, she should have been embraced during the Black Lives Matter movement, the suit argued. Instead, NBC, Bravo, and True forced her out of the house she built. Nene's attorneys told The Hollywood Reporter that she was the target of systemic racism from the start of the show, and that not a day goes by that Nene doesn't wake up with an onslaught of overwhelming emotions as a direct result of these unfortunate and avoidable occurrences. The lawsuit sought monetary damages for violations of federal employment and anti-discrimination law, and Bravo immediately moved to force the case into arbitration based on clauses in Nene's contract. An Atlanta judge granted multiple extensions as the parties attempted to negotiate. By summer, 2022, they were in active settlement talks. Then, in August 2022, just 4 months after filing, NA dismissed the lawsuit. Court documents obtained by People Stated Leaks hereby dismisses this action and all claims asserted by Leaks without prejudice. The dismissal without prejudice means she could legally refile in the future, but that seems unlikely. The documents also specified that all parties consent and stipulate to the foregoing dismissal. No party will seek recovery of costs or attorney's fees. What happened? Nene has never publicly explained why she dropped the lawsuit so quickly. The settlement terms, if there was a settlement, some legal experts who analyzed the case at the time suggested it looked like a chess move in a larger negotiation. Others speculated she may have received a financial settlement in exchange for dropping the suit and signing an NDA. What's clear is that one of the most prominent racial discrimination lawsuits ever filed against Bravo simply vanished with no public resolution and no accountability. When you look at all these lawsuits together, a clear pattern emerges. Bravo's primary defense strategy is always the same: force arbitration. Every single one of these cases involves Bravo trying to move litigation into private arbitration where proceedings are confidential. There's no jury, and the power dynamic heavily favors the corporation. Leah McSweeney just defeated that attempt. Nene Leakes was facing it when she dropped her suit. Caroline Manzo's case is still battling over jurisdiction. The second pattern is retaliation. Multiple housewives claimed that speaking out about mistreatment led to being fired, sidelined, or blacklisted. Nene said she was forced out after complaining about racism. Leah said she was labeled boring and denied future projects after trying to stay sober. The message Bravo allegedly sends is clear: if you complain, your career ends. Almost the third pattern is exploitation of vulnerability. Leah's alcoholism was allegedly weaponized for storylines. Caroline claims cast members are deliberately intoxicated to create drama. The lawsuit allegations suggest Bravo doesn't just document reality. They allegedly manufacture scenarios that put women at risk physically, mentally, and emotionally, because it makes good television. And the fourth pattern is that accountability remains elusive. Nan's case disappeared into confidential settlement or dismissal. Caroline's case is ongoing, but the season it involves will never air. Only Leah's case has survived motions to dismiss and avoided arbitration, and even that took over 2 years of legal fighting and is still far from resolved. These lawsuits expose a darker reality behind the glamorous facade of the Real Housewives. From disability discrimination to sexual assault to racial hostility, multiple women have tried to hold Bravo accountable. Most failed. The question is whether Leah McSweeney's case will finally force change. Subscribe for updates on this developing.